All right. So perfect. Now, it's going to get annoying hearing myself, though. I got to find a way to mute that. All right, I'll just do that. All right. Well, love technology when it works. All right. Well, welcome. Hello. Wise Guys and Ties here. Merry Christmas. We're going to be going over. This is another trial run of our advanced debt reduction strategies weekly mastermind. So this is where we go over velocity banking, sweep strategies, all kinds of topics. This is going to be some good stuff tonight. I want to share a document here real quick. So let's have a look here. Here we are. So let's take a look at this. What you're seeing on your screen is the information that I'm looking to get from you. So you'll have to send this in the form of the chat line there on your screen. But if I could have your netly month income and your fixed monthly expenses, examples of that are mortgage, auto loan, student loans, right? If I could get your monthly credit card payment amounts, other variable monthly expenses such as, for example, food, gas, utilities, entertainment, and then if I knew what how many credit cards you had and what the limits are and the balances that you're carrying, and the any assets that you have, if you have 401k, IRA, savings account, and your total debt, your liabilities. Now, here's what's very important. Do not give any specific identifying information for yourself. Meaning, I don't want to know like your first and last name. I don't want to know in this case where you're from, because I mean, I just am only interested in helping you. I want to help you guys learn how to implement. So tonight is really about just off the fly having you guys submit this information. So what I would like to do is, instead of putting it into chat, you know what's a better idea is, let's have you guys send the information to my email, bizcredit@wiseguysandties.com. All right, let's take a look at that. All right, and let's go ahead and highlight that. All right, so the information below, don't put it in the chat. So nix that I said that, and let's go ahead and have you put that directly into an email to me, and that way I can work with some numbers. And because there's a lot of folks here who are really interested in what's called velocity banking. Other people have called it cash flow banking. Some people call it mortgage sweep strategies. It goes by a lot of names, but the principles basically remain the same. We need to work. The reason why I need this information is I need to get an idea of what your budget is, and I need to look and see where we can find cash. Then looking at we definitely need a line of credit. So if we're going to do something like velocity banking. Oh, isn't that nice? Let's go back here. Let's not highlight that, but let's color that so it looks cool, right? We're going to do velocity banking, right? There's some components that need to be done. First of all, you need debt. You need monthly income, and need a line of credit or a credit card. That's these are the ingredients, right? If we were going to bake our velocity banking cookies, right? These are the ingredients that we need for the recipe. What I'm going to need from you so that I can help you with this is I need your net monthly income, fixed monthly expenses, such as we talk about mortgage, auto loan, student loan. We also need to know what your monthly credit card payments are, as well as other variable monthly expenses. It's going to be different for everybody. That's why I put some examples there, but it may or may not be exactly relate to you. But food, gas, utilities, entertainment. I mean, you could have daycare expenses, right? If that's in your budget. And then we need to have an idea of how many credit cards you have, right? Because we need that line of credit. And we need to have an idea of any other assets that you might have. Because sometimes people, they don't have any cash flow, but when we start looking at their assets and we find how they're underperforming for them, we can look at the possibility of transferring the form of those assets into a more efficient form. And then if we have an idea of the total debt, which is the goal of eliminating, we can then put together a plan of action, a velocity banking strategy, a sweep strategy to eliminate all your debt. So let us see what we shall see. All right. Looking here on, okay. Remember, send that to, I should put something. Ray is going to put the email that you need to send this information to, and he's going to go ahead and put in the chat box there. And then, all right. Okay, folks, we got a few folks popping in. So as we were talking about velocity banking. Specifically, what I'm trying to focus on here tonight is a bit of budgeting. So we're asking for all of the fun stuff here, right? Let's give that another color here. Let's make that, I don't know, something that really stands out, something that pops. Bam. There you go. So we need to know your budget, your monthly budget. So see, I mean, most Americans, they don't live within their means. I know I didn't. I'm guilty as charged. But I mean, there's a lot of great YouTubers out there, content on YouTube where you can learn how to budget. I mean, for some of us, it's like become the B word. We're like, oh no, I don't want to talk about that. No. But it's one of the very first and important steps of doing velocity banking is really breaking down where does all the money come from and where does it go, right? Sounds like a Cotton Eye Joe song. Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe? But here's the deal, is once we know and understand your budget, then we can, and this is it's like a mystery. It's like no one wants to go to the doctor and find out how bad it is, right? But we're here, we're gonna do a checkup, and we're gonna see where we're at. Good. And then what we do is we're gonna find areas where we can create cash flow, because cash flow is the key. Cash flow is going to be the speed or the velocity at which your debt will be paid down. So if we could free up 100, 250, 500, 1,000, whatever it is, we can begin to eliminate our debt very quickly. And so each week we will go over various trainings sort of in the beginning that help people understand various aspects of velocity banking. Today I was just focusing on budgeting, but there's also, once you've budgeted, or like down here, when we start looking at your total liabilities down here, um, that's that can become a scary number, right? Total liabilities, all that debt. Well, what happens is, for a lot of people, is this is what they become so buried by this that it freezes them. They don't know what to do. So if we can help people learn how to attack that total debt with the velocity, bringing that down, one of the ways we'll look at it in your debt is which debt needs to be paid off first, right? Where are you bleeding the most? You might have multiple lacerations, but let's stop the bleeding, especially from the wound that's the most critical artery, right? Sometimes we start eliminating debt, and it's not the worst debt. So we got to prioritize how we're doing this. So folks, today is really, it is exciting. This is really another taste of what velocity banking weekly masterminds are going to be like. We have folks that go ahead and they want help implementing velocity banking strategies. They want to learn how to do this themselves. And so that's what we're here to help folks with. So what you're seeing on your screen here is we are working on velocity banking. What are the ingredients? Well, you need debt. I mean, who doesn't have debt, right? We need monthly income. Well, hopefully you have monthly income. If you don't have monthly income, then we need to talk. We need to find some ways to generate and create income. That's another thing that we help folks with, but that's not a topic that we're discussing right now. But we're going to assume that you have monthly income, and then we're going to look at what lines of credit that you have in your life, what either credit cards, or maybe you have a HELOC or a personal line of credit, and that's what we want to use as our main driver of this advanced or accelerated debt paydown. So what I want you to do is send to my email address, bizcredit@wiseguysinties.com. I want you to send me your net monthly income, right? After that, I want you to, all in the same email, send me your fixed monthly expenses. And please itemize that out for me if you could. But for some people, if you just gotta do it quickly, I understand. But the more information I have to work with, the better. But then if I could have an idea of what your monthly credit card payments are, and then I need to know other variable monthly expenses, such as what's the food bill? Do you pay gas, insurance, maintenance, utilities, and what do you do for entertainment? Do you have Netflix, right, or something like that? And then it helps me to understand what your credit card limits are, like how many cards you have, what your limits are and balances, as well as any assets that you have that are either currently performing, underperforming. But if we can look at, if we can get a clear picture of where your budget currently is, this is like a balance sheet, right? Helps us understand where you're at. This is like if I'm the doctor, I'm giving you the financial checkup here, right? And so We also need to know what what your total debt is. I mean, because that's the goal. We want to get out of debt. We want to be financially free. So that's this is what we're going over today. So if you would, those who want to participate, those who want to, now leave your name off of this information. Don't give us the exact names of account numbers or banks. Like if you're listing out, you just have to put like mortgage, auto, student loan, right? Credit card, you can just call it credit card 1, credit card 2, credit card 3. You know, you don't have to tell me which it is or anything like that. I don't need to know any specifics. I should also take a moment to let you know that I'm not, this is for a disclaimer here. I'm not a licensed attorney. I'm not a CPA. I'm not a fiduciary. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not licensed to coach or train anybody in that capacity. And even if I was, I'm not trying to actually do that here. The goal of what I'm trying to do is to share some strategies, but I want to work with some real life numbers. But I want to show you how applying the velocity banking strategy could actually work in given different scenarios. A lot of times I use generic numbers that I pull off of the US Census Bureau, but what I want you to do is start looking at how I would approach doing this. How would somebody begin to implement velocity banking, right? Well, when we have a number of clients that we work with, and this is where we start. We begin to look at their budget, and so this is the goal of these weekly masterminds is we want people to begin to implement these strategies in their life because so many of you are just tied up emotionally and you're in the bondage of debt and we need to help loosen these bonds. We need to help you break free because once you do, I mean, at least the way I feel about this is then you'll be free to do what you were put on this earth to do. Then you can begin to actually live. And so, oh, perfect. We got some chat coming in here. Great. I have Jesus says, I hate budgets. They limit my spending. Very true. Very funny. I also have like rich dad and cash flow and assets is king, right? That's true. Quick question. Do you think a better strategy would be paying off bills that increase your cash flow the most or the highest interest rate? We want to be efficient, right? So it can sometimes feel like that paying off debts to increase the cash flow might be the way to go because more cash flow, right? Cash flow is king. But the I mean, and this is a training that we'll give on another day when we look at debt, how to prioritize which ones that you pay. But you really want to look at the efficiency of your debt. There are some debts that you could pay off that's actually a very efficient debt. So it's not necessary to pay that off because it's actually kind of helping you. So there's a lot of variables and factors. But I mean, a general rule of thumb, obviously, if you don't, I mean, we're going to dive into specifics here, but I mean, if you want to start really digging deep and getting into it, we're going to find which debt is the most inefficient, which one is costing you the most. And by eliminating that, it's actually going to have the effect of freeing up cash flow for you. And the a lot of times it's usually the largest amount of cash flow, but I mean the largest amount that's going out, but not always. But we'll give you a formula to calculate that, and again, that's definitely for another training because each week that we do these velocity banking masterminds, we're going to focus on one key aspect, and today is budget, the first thing that we focus on, right? I mean, so many people want to start velocity banking, but they just don't know all your numbers. And that can be dangerous to immediately start doing velocity banking without understanding, right? I mean, imagine, and we keep using the example of the medical example, but if you came in and you have a patient and they need help, you don't say, well, let's start with open heart surgery. Like, well, maybe they need that, but maybe there's a couple other things that need to be done first before we jump in and get that involved, especially if we don't know how to do open heart surgery yet. So, he says, thanks, I appreciate the response, not a problem. And then we have the real MJ says, what about student loan debt? Absolutely. I have that right here on the screen. Hopefully you can see that. What we're talking about here with student loan debt is really any anytime you have loan in the title, basically is a fixed payment. And you have your total debt of the loan that you owe, and then you have whatever monthly payment has been calculated. We're going to use a velocity banking strategy, free up cash flow and then use our lines of credit to aggressively chunk down, to break down bites, take bites right out of the debt. But in doing so, we're going to convert as much of the amortized interest that you're paying, which is very expensive, into simple interest on the lines of credit. And then using our cash flow, pay down the lines of credit, and then go take those bites out of the debt. So if you got student loan and it's raking you over the coals, right? Six-figure income. Well, we're going to first of all look at your budget, right? We have to look at a budget. We have to find where is the cash flow. For some people, they're like, I don't have any cash flow. I'm just living paycheck to paycheck. I'm barely making it. I'm underwater as it is. Well, there's a lot of different, again, trainings out there. Dave Ramsey is probably the best. His trainings of helping you live within your means. He's awesome. But you definitely, what we do is we look for things where do we have duplications or excess, where are areas that we think are good to invest in, but maybe aren't. And so we start reprioritizing what is important and what isn't. So budgets are hard conversations because you have to make choices. And do we keep this? Do we give it up? Are we gonna cut back on this? I mean, so yeah, budgets, not fun. Definitely not fun. But it's necessary. We need to determine where you're at. And the good news is that no matter where we're at, we can find a path forward. If we have more money going out than what's coming in, we have to increase the income or we have to find ways to reduce the expenses. Now, if we do have more income coming in than expenses, we have to look at how efficient are we and what cash flow there is. Could we even grow that cash flow? Are there ways where we could maximize the cash flow? But the cash flow is one of the key components. So we figure out what the income is, we know what our monthly expenses are, and we know what our debt is. And then so instead of putting all of the money into the bank and then writing checks or using credit cards and then paying those off, we restructure how everything's paid. Again, through the weekly masterminds, we're going to go over in greater depth what each of these areas are. But on another mastermind, what I want to do is I want to talk about the actual, how do we do velocity banking? Like how do we actually use the different lines of credit that are out there, and what is the effect that they have? So, like I was working with a client, and let me give you an example. Oh, hello, Emily. Welcome to the line. So here's what's cool. I'm going to share this real quick because I'm sharing one screen, but let me switch over and show you something else. This is a really exciting thing. But this is for another training. But what you're seeing on your screen, because we get in real depth helping people pay off loans. So here's somebody who had a balance $200,000 on a mortgage. And so if you look at the blue line here on your screen, that's the 30-year mortgage. That's the 360 payments if you just make all of your payments. And then we look at a couple of different strategies. Well, what if you made double payments, right? Well, here's the green line, right? And then what if you Oh, no. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm trying to read through my own notes here. Um, the the yellow line here is when we implement velocity banking. So there's a couple ways that we implement it. Sometimes we use credit cards, and that's how we get started. But then when we can get a home equity line of credit, which is what we try to do, it's an more advanced strategy, but using a home equity line of credit to accelerate the payoff of your actual debt, you see that if this is 30 years, you're getting this done in about 153 months. 153 months. Let's see, 153 months. So that's 12 years, right? Given the cash flow, the credit that this person had available to them, and we're basing it off of interest rates that they have. So I just wanted to give you a little flavor of things that we're going to do in the future, of how we're going to look at various different ways to pay it off. Like if you used a credit card, if you used a home equity line of credit. So we will talk about structurally how to implement velocity banking. Oops, I paused that. Didn't mean to. Okay, and so let's switch back over to our favorite topic, which is budget. Boom. All right. So Jesus says, cut expenses, increase income, or both in order to increase cash flow. I noticed that once people see how fast they can pay off their bills with velocity banking, it motivates to cut things they thought they never could. Absolutely. This is, here's the best analogy that I can think of. If you're going to start to get out of debt, it's like, picture a big hill in front of you and it's snowing outside, and you're going to push the little snowball that you made up this hill, right? And it gets heavy and it gets harder to go because it's picking up snow. This is your debt. This is what you've done in your life. This is what you've accumulated, and so you're finding it hard, and it's so much effort to get started. And then but you're making progress, you're moving forward. It feels slow at first, but you just keep going and you keep pushing, and then you get to the top or the crest of that hill, and then you start to pick up a little momentum, and it gets easier and starts going faster and faster. Before you know it, boom, it's gone. I mean, that is the power of velocity banking. So it can feel like you're taking your medicine at first, and then it can feel like it's whining and dining, and it's great. It's great stuff. All right, so let's take a look and see if we've had any takers yet. So everyone's shy, apparently. There's nobody who's brave enough to put something in. Now remember, we're going to keep total anonymity. We're not going to share whose information is that we're putting up there. But if we want to go over anybody's information, got to put in line. What is it that we need? What is the information that we need to start helping you with the budget and implement velocity banking? I need to know your net monthly income, right? I need to know fixed expenses. Then we also need to know what your monthly credit card payments are. Those aren't fixed expenses. And then you have other variable monthly expenses, and everybody's going to be different. Everybody, I assume, eats food, so there's a food bill. If you drive a car, then you have a gas and insurance. Not everybody has a car, right? Utilities, entertainment. And then we have, then I need to know how many credit cards you have. You don't have to give me any specific information about this. I don't need to know which banks or what state or anything. Total 100% anonymity. But credit card 1, credit card 2, and then what is the limit on that card, and what balance are you carrying? And then we need to know what the assets are, because this is where we find where people are either being efficient with their money, or we look at areas where we could help them be a little more financially efficient, with the goal of eliminating. We see this is what we want to do. We want to eliminate all the debt. Gone. That's what we want, right? But unfortunately, it's still with us. Okay. Well, folks, if there's nobody that wants to play the game, then I don't really have anything more planned. But we're going to train you guys to get used to this, right? Because I mean, this is new. We're just rolling it out. But the more you understand the format is we're going to do on Tuesday nights, we're going to have weekly. So Tuesday nights, what we're going to do is this Velocity Banking Mastermind. We're going to help folks implement it, but everybody gets stuck at different points. And some people, unfortunately, yeah, they get stuck at budgeting. It's it's hard. It's like, oh, it's like that pushing. Like I remember that example, pushing that snowball or that boulder up the hill. Oh man, that's hard work. But but once we get going, once we start uh, making some headway, then you're going to see some results. So all you have to do is, if you want to participate, we'll leave it open here. Especially if you've got questions, throw them in on the line. That's what this is here for. I want to answer people's questions as they have them. But if you want to have us work with a real life example, just type in the information that I need to bizcredit@wiseguysandties.com. Now, it might be a little unfair to some of you folks. You're like, yes, yes, I want to do that, because we do get a lot of people asking us for this help. You're like, oh, I'm not ready. I'm not at home. I don't have those numbers in front of me. Okay, that's fine. Keep in mind that this is what we're going to do now every Tuesday. We're going to get you trained. We're going to get you in a rhythm, right? I want you to like and subscribe this channel and make sure you click on the bell so that you can get notifications so that you don't miss these Tuesday night live sessions, because we will be doing a mastermind here. And why do I say mastermind? Why am I not just calling it straight out coaching or a training, right? Because you're going to see that this is a collaborative effort. As I start showing you some of the tips and strategies that have worked for us and some of our clients, we're going to get some other useful input from folks like Jesus, right? He's always throwing in some good nuggets of pearls of wisdom. This is something to be meant to be collaborative, because we're going to find, as some people are going to say, well, I've had some difficulties. Here's one that comes up a lot, one that we get fairly often is like, well, I don't know if I want to do velocity banking and pay off that mortgage, because man, I'm going to give up the mortgage deduction that I get with the on my taxes. I mean, I get that a lot. A lot of people are like, oh yeah, and maybe you're sitting there thinking, oh, I didn't think about that. Yeah, I would lose that. Well, what we do is we do a side by side comparison and show you how much are you going to make in or how much do you get back or that you save in your mortgage deduction, versus how much debt do you eliminate, right? And how much cash flow do you free up? And when you start comparing the two, there really is no comparison. It's like tripping over dollar bills to pick up pennies with the mortgage tax deduction. But a lot of people don't understand it, and so we've got to show you the numbers. We got to put it sometimes on a chart or a graph that helps you see it clearly. Other objections that people, or not objections, but other challenges that people face is, well, I want to do velocity banking, but I just can't pay off that mortgage with a credit card, or I can't make my auto payment with a credit card, or I have this bill that will not accept a credit card. Well, I mean, so does velocity banking not work? No, of course it does. There are workarounds and strategies for everything. And those who are committed to learning and wanting to implement those strategies, you'll find it here on this weekly mastermind, because I don't have all the answers. I mean, I've learned a lot. I've worked with a lot of people. I mean, I have 110 clients right now actively that I'm working with, but over the years I've worked with hundreds of people. So the point is that I've learned a lot. And then when one resource was working and then it's not, somebody pipes in and says, oh, you know what, I tried these guys. So it's a mastermind, because we're going to get a collaborative effort of what's working with some folks and what's not working with other. I have it in mind. I haven't quite formulated how we'll do it yet, but I have it in mind. Like, I want to do like the biggest loser, right? I want to do something like that. Like, who can lose the most debt, right? Let's have a competition, and you win something for doing that. But I haven't put that all together yet. But that's something that's in my mind. And if you've got some ideas, go ahead and pipe them in. But I'd like to give away like maybe an Apple iPad or something like that, but or something that. But fun, friendly competition, but also a mastermind is also accountability. If you're going to meet weekly with people that are doing this, oh man, I got to keep doing this. And so you get encouragement, you get support, and you get to get tips and strategies on how to do this. And we find that this is what's really going to help everybody do this. So let's see. We've got another question here. How do you pay a mortgage with a credit card, but without using a service like plastic? That comes from Dividend Portfolio. Without using a service like plastic. Well, whatever service you're going to use, there's okay, so bottom line is if a bank or a lender or whoever it is says they will not accept a credit card as a payment, they will not accept. There is no, I mean, if they are limiting how they will receive payment to either a check or a wire, then you have got to send a check or a wire. Now, does it have to be your check or your wire? Not necessarily. There are companies out there, and there are services, and there are people that, and depending on what they charge, um, are going to allow that they will be the third party that will make the payment, and having that third party is is what facilitates something like that. So some people look at plastic, which was written there, as well, they're going to charge me money. They're going to charge me, what is it they charge? I think they charge like 2.5%. But again, you just have to run your number. I mean, when you look at how much interest you're really paying, like you have your amortized interest, but then when you look at how much you're actually paying when you convert it to simple interest, you might be paying 80 to 100 to maybe 120% in interest. That's what you're paying every month. And so if you use a service that helps you implement velocity banking, but it's going to cost you 2.5% simple interest, right? We're talking simple interest, APR, right? It's very, very simple. Is that worth it? I don't know. Like, you use a credit card, and maybe the interest rate on a credit card is at 18%. And then if you use a company like plastic, now you're looking at maybe the total amount of interest you're going to pay is around 20.5%. And so you think, wow, it's 20.5% now that I'm paying. Or maybe you're at 21 and now you're going to be at 23.5. Whatever it is, you have to run your numbers. You look at that, because what am I, if I just stick with making my regular payments to the on the mortgage, maybe you're paying 80% or 100% in simple interest. Well, which is cheaper? Is it cheaper to pay the 18% interest on your credit card plus another 2.5% from plastic? Is that cheaper than paying the 80 to 100% interest directly to the bank? My thoughts, my feelings are that I will take small little service fees any day if it helps me ultimately eliminate that real expensive amortized interest. But for other people, they're just like, no, I am not willing to do that. Well, that's fine. You're going to have to find somebody else then that maybe is willing to be a third party, because that's the only way you can do it. You outside of yourself, right? If you're trying to pay things with a line of credit, so your question was, how can you pay a mortgage with a credit card? Well, what type of credit card is it? There are hybrid cards, not on the personal side though. Mind you, I do a lot of work on business credit. Business credit is huge. Everybody should have a business. There's no reason not to have a business. If you don't have a business, you need to go start a business, but start it the right way. Don't make a mistake, but start a business. Businesses give you access to at least double and sometimes, quadruple what you can get access to on the personal side. But there are hybrid accounts, credit cards that also have a line of credit attached to them. What I mean by that is like a checkbook. You can literally write a check. It is attached with your credit card, a corporate hybrid credit card. Some of them come with a line of credit with a checkbook, so you can just write the check, send that into the bank. That's good. Balance transfers usually they'll send you a check and you can write a check, but I mean that's a balance transfer. But you're trying to find some way to either send the bank a wire or a check, right? That's the only two ways that they'll accept funds. So what are the ways that you can do that? Well, if you get your own type of, if you had a home equity line of credit that was giving you a type of checkbook control over that line of credit, which many of them do offer that. But I mean, you got to be careful. There are a lot of different types of HELOCs. There's the second mortgage, right? That's usually offered by your institutional lenders. They'll offer you those second mortgages, and those can be really good. Those can be very helpful. But the best are when you look at the smaller banks, like your credit unions, that can offer you a what do we call that? They offer you a home equity line of credit, but it's in first position. So if you can get the total equity down to around, well, I mean, there's different banks, and all of this depends on what's your income to debt ratio, what's your utilization at, what's your payment history, right? There's a lot of factors that determine this, but let's say you had 40% equity in the home, you can get a home equity line of credit in first position, right? That would just wipe out the mortgage, but it would transfer it all onto your home equity line of credit. But instead of it being a second mortgage in second position, it's now in first position. So that's why banks like, credit unions will do things like that. But let's say because you had 40%, you had 40% equity, right? So then that means that 60% of the equity of the value of the house is going to transfer onto this home equity line of credit. But let's say they're extending you 80% loan to value. So that means 20% of the value of your home is now available to you in a line of credit. And then you use that available line of credit to then aggressively wipe out all the debt that's still left on that first position. So those are some of my thoughts. I don't see a problem personally with using third-party companies like Plastic to because I mean they're charging you 2.5% interest, simple interest, and I think that, I mean, if I'm if I'm paying off so much amortized interest, and then for me it's not an issue, but I can understand how it is for others. So there are other strategies. Like I said, go ahead and look into, if you have a business, getting one of those hybrid corporate cards that's not only a credit card, but it also is a line of credit. So you have a little checkbook attached and you can write checks that way. Or getting an actual home equity line of credit if you qualify, right? So those are some of the answers that I have. Hopefully that is useful to you. All right. So where are we at? Any more questions? Anyone? Bueller? All right, folks. I think we might be cutting it short today. Oh, you said thanks for the detailed response. You are absolutely welcome, my friend. Our goal here is to help you. You know what? Before I go, here's what I want to do. I want you folks to like and to subscribe to the Wise Guys and Ties YouTube channel, and make sure you click on the bell, because we're going to be doing this weekly. Tuesday nights, I want to do it roughly around this time, but sometimes we might shift a little bit earlier and a little bit later because we've got folks that we've got to reach on the East Coast and the West Coast. So, but it's going to be roughly in the evening. But here's what I want to do. So I want to talk to you. What's it going to cost? Because there is going to be a cost. Starting in January, there's a cost to this. So we're talking about this weekly, we'll call it, if I can spell, Velocity Banking, we'll call it a mastermind. It can go by so many different names. I don't know what official name we'll get it. We'll talk to the legal department, of course, but it could be advanced debt reduction strategies. Whatever it is, it's going to be a weekly mastermind where we implement mortgage sweep strategies, where we implement what's called cash flow banking, velocity banking, where we go over this. So, oh, how about I spell that right? Mastermind. Man, it must be late or something. All right, so weekly velocity banking mastermind. This is what I want to cover right now. What's something like this going to cost? I mean, what would you pay to work with a group of like-minded individuals such as yourself that have not only successfully used velocity banking in their lives and in their business, but we've helped literally dozens and dozens of people just this year, but over the last 4 years, we've worked with literally hundreds of people implementing the strategy. But be able to work with myself, Ray Fleming. We'll even sometimes have a guest speaker's named CJ Wallace from his YouTube channel over here on the Wise Guys and Ties channel. But here's the point: what would you pay to be a part of a mastermind that is going to help you fundamentally change everything? Where you can talk to the experts and the pros of people who are doing it, implementing velocity banking, helped other people, and make this happen for you, where you can work on it weekly, where you can have some accountability, where you can network and collaborate with other entrepreneurs, right? Well, here's what for it to make sense for me to do this, because I'll be doing a lot of these. Ray Fleming will be doing a lot of these, and we'll probably try to have CJ Wallace in. He's such a busy guy, man. He's got 16,000 clients. I don't know how that guy does anything. He's just always on the phone. But we'll get him in once a quarter, and because he's a real velocity banking genius. And we're going to every week work on a different facet in the beginning. So it'll always structure into about the first 10, 15 minutes. We'll go over a specific in-depth analysis of a specific aspect of velocity banking, and then we'll open it up. And if there's people who have questions, we'll answer questions. If people want to give us their numbers, right, then we'll go over numbers, and we'll actually implement the strategy, and we'll show you what we're doing, not just academically, but how do we do that? We'll answer questions like, well, how would we calculate which debt to pay down first? And like we had great question earlier from Dividend Portfolio, who was like, well, what about if you don't want to use a third-party source? How else can you pay? So here's what we're going to charge. So if you want to just come weekly, check it out, come and go as you want, here's the price for you. The price is going to be per session now. And I think that this is a fair price, to tell you the truth. We're going to charge you $6.99 per week. That's it. There'll be a subscription. I mean, there'll just be there'll be a subscription page. We're actually broadcasting this through a Zoom webinar. So here we are on YouTube. It'll start on YouTube. And then after the 10 or 15 minutes training is over and we click over to the mastermind session, that's when people will, to get in. Well, again, we're still working out the logistics, but you have to be subscribed to get the link to be in the training. So more information on that, but $6.99 a week is not bad. And here's what's great is we will do monthly subscription, and we'll give you a break if you want to do it monthly, right? Here's what's great. You want to get in monthly working on this mastermind? That's it. $14.99 a month, right? $14.99 a month, and that is every week working with me, Ray Fleming, and occasionally guest host, guest appearance of Mr. CJ Wallace, and we will be actually answering all your questions. So how long does a session last? Well, we envision it lasting about an hour, but I mean, if we have a really good, robust conversation going on, I could see extending it, 10, 15, 20 minutes if necessary, but we want to make sure everybody's getting their questions answered and everybody feels like they're getting the value out of this. Again, weekly Velocity Banking Mastermind for $6.99 a week, guys. That's just so that I can justify putting this on. That I just want to pay for everything, right? It costs money to have a webinar page. It costs money to transmit all of this. So I just want it to pay for itself. I'm not looking to make profits, huge profits out of this. This is a service that we want to bring to you, but we have to. I'm not running a charity, so I do have to have it at least pay for itself. So $6.99 a week or $14.99 a month. And what you do is you'll get a training every Tuesday for about 10, 15 minutes where we focus on a specific aspect of velocity banking. Then we will answer questions and we will work with people's real numbers, again, but total anonymity, no names shared, but we will just look at case studies of actually implementing velocity banking so that you can get the feel of how it works and start implementing this yourself. And if you want to submit your numbers, you can have us working on your numbers, showing you how this is going to work. And so many wonderful things that'll come with having accountability and collaboration and networking with other folks out there that are doing this. This is I don't know why we didn't do this sooner, but this is what is going to really, I think, help all of you only eliminate your debt, but create cash flow and help you take, if you have a business, take it to the next level. But my goal in all of this is to help all of you do what you were put here on earth to do, right? You were all created for a specific purpose, and maybe it wasn't to be swimming in debt and drowning in sorrow and misery. Maybe it was to maybe you had a dream to travel or to spend more time with the family, or you always wanted to, maybe there was something you always wanted to do, to learn how to fly fish or whatever. To be able to have the time, maybe you have a charity in mind, or there's some, or maybe you just want more time to sleep, whatever it is, right? You are currently trapped and imprisoned by a debt, and your master, the bank is your jailer, and we've got to help you break free. And so I'm somebody who broke free, and so you're a POW right now, and I'm breaking in. Hogan's Heroes, right? We're going to help you escape the concentration camp that you're in, this financial trap that you're in, and we're going to help you out. And once you're out, I'm going to encourage you, if you're not already, to form a business and build business credit. And I invest in real estate. I encourage you to do the same. But whatever it is that you want to do, if you want to start a trucking company, if you want to start a hair salon, whatever your dream or your goal is, that's what we're here to help you to do. So weekly velocity banking, let's get this started. Let's make our dreams come true. Let's make it a reality. So we are going to start bringing this to you. You're going to be able to have a link to be able to sign up for this. Right now, it's still being coded on our website, so there is no link I can send you to now, but we can still process payments for those who are ready to get started, all you have to do is, here's all you have to do. All you have to do is dial 888-524-9273. Leave us your name and I mean, again, my office manager, she's gone home for the night, so she's not here. But you call, leave a message, and she'll contact you. When you call this number, all you have to do is say that you're interested in the weekly Velocity Banking Mastermind. That's it. That's all you have to do. And then I'll go ahead and either my office manager will go ahead and take payment, or she'll connect you through to me, and then we'll meet, touch base a little bit, and we'll get you started. But I'm so excited to be working with you. You're going to be working every week with either me, Ray Fleming, or CJ Wallace. This is going to be super fun. I'm looking so forward to what we're going to be able to accomplish here. I really think that this is where the seeds are going to be planted that sprout and grow into the fulfillment of really all of our dreams. So, folks, I want to say, if there's no further questions, please, here's what you need to do right here. You want to get started? Got a call, right? Let's blow that up a little bit, right? This is what you got to do. You got to call 888-524-9273. That's 888-524-9273. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you get all of the trainings. Guys, this isn't the only thing that we do. Obviously, we do real estate, we do business, credit. So on this YouTube channel, we have all kinds of trainings for you to learn all kinds of fun and interesting and exciting things about business finance and investing and different strategies. So, but this is something I'm so proud of and I'm excited to bring to you. Huge value, and I just want it to pay for itself. That's the goal here. And if we can do that, then we can really provide. I mean, I wish that I had this when I was where you're at today. I wish that there was somebody I could connect into. It took me a long time. I finally found a group of people that took me in and helped me out and helped me to get educated and learn this stuff and implement it. But I've had so much success. I've been so blessed by God that it's now my turn, my opportunity to give back to you, especially now at this time of year when everybody's going into so much debt for Christmas and buying stuff. Oh man, we're all like, what are we going to do, right? Well, while some people are going to go on diets to lose weight, we're going to put your debt on a diet. Right? We're going to make it lose all its weight. All right. Thank you so much, folks, for letting me beam into your computer or on your devices. Make sure you like and subscribe so that you can never miss a single thing that we've got going on here. I want to say, hopefully I can pull this up here, get everything back up and running. But I want to thank you so much. Good night, folks. And God bless.